रेडियो उड़ान के अपडेट्स लेने के लिए इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और इस वीडियो को ज्यादा से ज्यादा लाइक कीजिए और शेयर कीजिए। फॉर मोर इन्फो लॉग ऑन टू www.radioudan.com।
तुम क्या कर रहे हो?
पेंटिंग बना रहा हूँ।
वाओ, ये तो बहुत सुंदर है। पर तुम इतने परेशान क्यों लग रहे हो?
जब से डिसेबल्ड हुआ हूँ अपना टैलेंट दिखाने की अपॉर्चुनिटी ही नहीं मिल रही।
मैं यही तो बताने आई थी। सिर्फ पेंटिंग ही नहीं बल्कि कुकिंग, टेलरिंग, वर्ड प्रोसेसिंग, वेबसाइट डिजाइनिंग, ज्वेलरी मेकिंग, बेकिंग जैसी 42 कैटेगरीज में इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हो।
वो कैसे?
सार्थक और NAAI ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं ओलंपिक स्किल कंपटीशन फॉर पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटी, जिसमें आपको मौका मिलेगा अपना टैलेंट इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर दिखाने का।
तो मुझे रजिस्टर कहाँ करना होगा?
रजिस्ट्रेशन करने के लिए विजिट करें www.abilympicssindia.org। You can also call at 9899502660।
थैंक्स फॉर द इन्फॉर्मेशन। मैं अभी जाके रजिस्टर करता हूँ।
हो जाइए तैयार।
जी दोस्तों, नमस्कार, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल। मैं दानिश महाजन प्रोग्राम बदलता दौर में आपका स्वागत करता हूँ। So today I am going to introduce a very special guest. You have requested time and again. So finally he is with us. So today our guest is none other than founder of Be My Eyes, Mr. Hans. So it's our privilege. We will know more about Be My Eyes, what is coming in upcoming days. So how did he make this dream reality? So all sort of questions today we will ask. Mr. Hans, thank you so much for giving us time. It's privileged to be with you.
Thank you so much. It's always super interesting when someone from the biggest country in the world talking to someone from basically the smallest country in the world. So thank you so much.
Mr. Hans, when we see Be My Eyes, the most amazing thing that we have never seen in the world, you have more than 8 million, around about 8 million volunteers. A blind person is running this social entrepreneur and making it huge. I never seen people even dreaming about that. How did you make this possible?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I can say with absolutely certainty that without my amazing team, there would not have been any kind of Be My Eyes. So it is because of the team that we can actually do this. Of course, someone had to come up with the idea in the beginning and believe in it and all that. But it is very, very much a team effort to make this into a global thing. Just before I was joking a little bit about Denmark being a super small country. We are not even 6 million people here in Denmark. But I think that when you come from such a small country, then you have to think global from the beginning. I mean, if you are from the US or India, for that matter, you can make a product that is good for India, and that's good because it's a huge market. But when you're only 6 million people and you're making something for blind people, then you have to think about how can I make this into a global service, and that's kind of the benefit being from a small country, that you have to think that way. So.
Right.
That might be part of the reason. So,
Tell us a bit about yourself. People are curious to know about yourself.
Yes. I am almost 60 years old, and I have retinitis pigmentosa, and lately I have been able to read text until actually a few months ago. But now I am a full-time voice-over user, and I have been night blind and gradually losing my vision over the last 30 years. So and now I am practically blind, and so now I really need my own app. And but yeah, I'm kind of laughing a little bit about it because it has been kind of a joke in the company that Be My Eyes needed to be really up and running when I needed myself, and that's now. So I'm super, super excited that we have made also the Be My AI part of it, which I think is
Yes.
super, super interesting, and we can talk about that. But I live here in Denmark, and I have a wife and two grown-up daughters. Both of them has been part of Be My Eyes, and one of them is actually working for Be My Eyes now as my assistant and communication person. So it's also kind of a family thing for me. And we have the development part of Be My Eyes is here in Denmark, and our CEO and the sales part of it is based in the US. So that's
Right.
kind of a little bit about the background about Be My Eyes. Yeah.
Mr. Hans, you said you are 60, but let me
Yes.
tell you, I am 35. I sound more older to you. You are quite young.
Thank you. I try to.
Yeah. So before I get into Be My Eyes stories and Be My AI story, I am always curious to know more about countries. So tell us 2-3 things about Denmark, which are really good from the perspective of persons with disabilities. And because a lot of people have this notion, if you live in Europe, if you lived in developed countries, the situations of visually impaired or disabled for that matter is totally different. Do you buy that argument, or do you believe the challenges are the same?
Well, I have to be really careful because I don't know how it is to live as a blind person in other countries. I can tell you that even though seen from other countries, it might be really good to live in Denmark, we still complain about basically everything. So I think that's maybe kind of the same. But we have a very developed welfare system where you have healthcare insurance paid by the state. You can get, if you are blind and unemployed, you can get a subsidized from the state, and it is a right that you have. So in that sense, I believe it is not as stressful as it can be in other countries. And maybe most importantly, you don't have to rely on the goodwill of friends and family and so on. You can actually have a living that doesn't depend on goodwill from other people, because it is a right you have from the state. And I believe that that's a huge difference to many other countries. So yeah.
Yeah. So one last question before I get into the Be My Eyes. When I interviewed a lot of people, be it in America, be it in other countries, and even in India, one thing which I found common is a lot of people complains that even now in the era of this technology, the level of awareness among general people is quite less or very low with regard to disability, or there is still a social stigma prevailing. What are your views from the Denmark perspective?
Well, this is just my personal way of seeing it, but I believe that it is, of course, it's troublesome as in any country, but it is not as stigmatizing to be blind in Denmark. But it is still an absolute learning curve, and you have to kind of get into yourself and think about, am I willing to walk around with my white cane and show that to my neighbors and the other people in the village where I live, and all that. That can be very, very troublesome and stressful for a lot of people. But in general, people absolutely don't regard you as less of a person in Denmark because you are using a white cane. I would say maybe even quite the opposite. You have come to terms with your situation, and you are out there and willing to show that that you have that issue, and other people have other issues. But it is not in that sense a stigma. But it is still very difficult to get a job and all that. I think that's kind of a global thing. So
sounds great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay, so now getting back to Be My Eyes, a dream come true for many people. Now tell us the story behind, from where you draw the inspiration. What was the founding story of this app? How did this come in your mind? Tell us.
Yeah. In 2012, I was working for the Danish Blind Federation. I was hired as a consultant, and I was visiting blind people in their home and telling them about audiobooks and white canes and how to learn new stuff and all that. And in that period of time, I, of course, got to know a lot of blind people, also low vision people. And I met some who were way more tech savvy than I was at the time. And they were using Skype and FaceTime to make video calls to basically to their friends and family. And one of them said to me, but I always have to call someone, meaning I have to think about who is available, who is at work, and who did I call yesterday, and I shouldn't call again today, and all that. And that kind of triggered me to say, oh, we can make a group you can call. And I'm not a tech person at all, so I had no idea how to make an app, but I kind of knew it was possible to do it. So I was thinking about this idea, and I kind of talked to somebody about it and think, oh, that sounds really interesting. Maybe you should kind of do something about it. And then I went to one of the universities here in Denmark. They had at the time something called Startup Weekend, where you can basically walk in from the street and present an idea. You have 1 minute to present this idea, so you have to be really fast and to the point. And that's what I did. And then there were some other people in the group that said, oh, that's interesting, let's have a swing at that. And we managed to raise some money and to hire some developers. And that was also kind of interesting because back in 2012 and 13, there wasn't that many apps for blind people. And that also meant that there was very few developers who knew about making apps accessible to blind people, what accessibility at all meant in a development process. So that was it was super interesting, but also a little difficult to find the right people who could actually make the app in an accessible way. But we managed to do that, and then in January 2015, we were ready and we launched. And we had no idea about, because I was talking to my friend, and all of them said, yeah, I want to volunteer. But then, they are your friends, so they will always make you happy. But what about all the other people that had no idea about blind people or Be My Eyes for that matter? But we were completely blown away by the interest from day one. We had more than 1,000 blind people sign up within the first 24 hours. And 10,000 volunteers. And within a few weeks, we had 10 doubled that number. And as you mentioned today, we have well over 7 million volunteers and 500 and something thousand blind and low vision people globally. We can help people in 185 different languages. Including many of the languages spoken in India. And we are super proud of that. And the only reason why we can do that is because we have so many volunteers, of course. And not only can we help people in their own language, but because it is so global as it is, we can also help people in Hindi in the middle of the night, because we have a lot of volunteers who live in the US or Australia or Europe or in other time zones. So if you are in India and you make a call at 3 o'clock in the morning, we will not ping someone in India at 3 o'clock in the morning. Then we just find someone speaking your language in another time zone. And I think that's something, of course, we were thinking about it from the beginning, but we had no idea that it would be possible to actually to do that in most of the language we have. And I think that's pretty amazing. So,
see, everything is very professional. It is not that easy the way you are putting. It's sounding very easy when you are describing, but I'm sure a lot of efforts by a lot of people, and it was a demand of the time, and we were desperate for this app, and you made it reality. The way you are sounding, that we have to found people at 3 a.m. even if people are not available in India. So it's truly amazing. Let me explain for our listeners in Hindi a bit. तो आज हम बात कर रहे हैं बी माई आईज के फाउंडर मिस्टर हंस से। बी माई आईज एक ऐप है जिसमें आपको मदद चाहिए। आप ऐप को डाउनलोड करें, वहां कॉल वॉलंटियर करें, कोई आपकी कॉल उठाएगा, और आपको किसी भी तरह की कोई मदद चाहिए तो वहां पे आपको वो मदद मिलेगी। तो आज ही डाउनलोड कीजिए बी माई आईज। इफ यू हैवंट डाउनलोडेड टिल नाउ, राइट अवे गो and download Be My Eyes. I had certain questions about that, but again, let me come back to Be My Eyes. Then I'll come back on the challenging part. Now you introduced Be My AI, and title is also very catchy. Be My Eyes. The title is very catchy, so we love that title. Now Be My AI. See, before that there were a lot of applications where they used to provide you description, but when beta version of Be My AI came and people started taking pictures, and the way it has provided the description, people gone mad. They started playing like, a kid plays. Oh, see the description, how it is giving the description, what is in the right, what is in the left, what is on the up, what is written on my wall, what is there on the Almira. How did you manage? This is a super feature. What technology you used, and it's really amazing and very helpful. Tell us about Be My AI, when its story started.
This is kind of a funny one, because I got an email from a blind person who has never really paid attention to taking pictures before, but now he was sharing pictures with another blind person, and I in my mind, that was kind of maybe the best part of my life, when Be My Eyes was able to make two blind persons send pictures to each other. Then I mean that's a measure of success. and of course it was also kind of a funny story. So and I can tell you, on a daily basis we get so many emails from our users that are simply overjoyed with the option of learning something about their living room that they didn't know before, and on their own terms and without asking a person, get a detailed description of something or someone. I know we have had issues with face recognition and all that, but that is hopefully solved by now. I mean, we have had blind parents describe how they were using Be My AI to have a daily description of their kids, how they were looking and all that. and also two blind people living together, taking picture of each other, and that's super private, and something that where you don't want a third person involved, and you can laugh about that and have fun with it and forget about it. Also, students that are using Be My Eyes to have pictures in their study books or graphs. Maybe a graph is actually maybe the best example. If you're studying something and there is a graph in the book, then the screen reader cannot tell you about this graph in a meaningful way. But Be My Eyes with the Be My AI feature can really give you details. And not only can it give you details, you can ask further details. If there's something really specific about this graph you want to know, then you can say, okay, please give me super detailed description about this graph. And it will do that. And maybe the most important thing is you can go back again and again and again. I mean, we have all had a study book we didn't really understand, where we need to look at the pictures quite a bit.
That's amazing.
So I think that's maybe even the most important thing, that you can go back again and again until you get it, and you can ask Be My AI to describe this in a different way, or use some other terms, or hey, I'm 5 years old, explain this to me. And it will kind of do that. So it's the fact that you can really do this on your own terms without being embarrassed about asking the same question 5 times or something like that. So that is, I think, the thing that I'm really most proud about is that you can actually use this totally on your own terms.
The way Be My AI, Mr. Hans, you are so gentle that I can go on and on with this podcast. I'm thoroughly enjoying, but I know there is always a time constraint, and you have to do a lot of other assignments as well. So only last couple of questions. One, how did you make it popular among journal masses? Because that's always a challenge. Okay, you made it, you started it, but then reach out to people. What was your marketing strategy?
Well, that's maybe the most interesting thing about Be My Eyes, because we didn't really have a marketing budget. And this is sometimes we forget with all these bad stories with war and in the world. But the people in this world, they really like to help each other. And when somebody has been helping on Be My Eyes, they write an email to me many times, and they express how they liked it, and they sometimes they even thank me for the opportunity to be in this position where they could help a person with a real issue, and then they brag about it to their friends and family, and that is exactly how we have spread. Of course, we have also been a lot in the media. This is not the first podcast or the first interview I'm doing. There has been many interviews since 2015. And of course that also helped. But I think the main driver is that people in the lunch break, they talk about this amazing experience they had helping someone starting their washing machine, and that is how we have spread. I mean, I don't know anyone in Japan or in Russia or Vietnam or India for that matter. But even though we have spread to all these countries and to languages that none of us on my team at least speak. But that is because so many people speak more than one language, and they read on Facebook and X, as it is called now. So we didn't really have a strategy, and we didn't have any money for marketing. But because people are better than we think, and they like to help, and of course also the blind people has been telling each other about it. But I'm pretty sure that it is the volunteer who has been driving the spreading of the word through from country to country and from language to language.
Can you give me a spoiler? What is coming next in Be My Eyes? Because a lot of people want to know. I'm sure something was going on in your mind, and that would be very interesting.
Thank you for asking, and I can, because the next thing that will show up, I cannot tell you exactly when, but it is called My Groups, or Be My Groups, maybe. We haven't decided yet. And this is one of the things that we realized when we launched Be My AI is I have a wonderful example, a young lady here in Denmark whom I know personally. She was one of the first to sign up for Be My Eyes in 2015, but I think she has made like 18 calls or something. So she has basically not used Be My Eyes, but she has made more than 700 picture recognition sessions by now. So, and the simple reason is that she is a little bit shy about calling strangers. So she feels really uncomfortable talking to people she doesn't know. So we could see that Be My AI really hit something with her that she liked. So now we are introducing that you can make your own private group of friends and family, but you don't have to think about who to call. You can just make a group of maybe 20 people in your surrounding people you know personally, and then you can press that button, and then we will find whoever is available among your friends and family. And maybe you have something you don't want to show to a stranger, or maybe you are in the local shop where you know that all your friends and family also know, or the city you live in, and they can maybe in a way better way they can guide you around or something like that. So now we will provide you the option of having kind of a private network, and you can even, if you have some wonderful friends and family, you can share that group with another blind person. So 2 or 3 or 5 blind persons can share the same group of trusted friends and family. Maybe you are a blind couple living together, and you have, of course, the same kind of friends group. So you don't have to make more than one group. You could just have one group, and then two blind persons can share that group. And also in the situation where you are being introduced to Be My Eyes, then the trainer can make a super small group with just the new blind person learning about Be My Eyes and him or herself. So the first time they actually try this app, they don't call a random volunteer. They are actually calling each other. So they can get used to it and see how it works, and they don't have to have this awkward moment where, I didn't really need anything, I was just trying this out.
Great.
And you can also do that with your friends and family if you want to.
Absolutely,
so that's, yes. I'm very, very excited about this. It might not be as fancy as Be My AI, but for me, it's kind of maybe something of the same magnitude, because I know that it can be a kind of a hurdle that you need to cross to call someone you don't know. And I'm sure that a lot of people would prefer calling friends and family. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Hans. What would be your message for our listeners?
Well, I would encourage you to try it out. It's free, and if you are a sighted person and you speak Hindi or some of the other non-English language that you are using in India, please sign up and select that language as your primary language. We have many volunteers in most languages, but in Hindi, for instance, we would like to have a little more. So if we can do that, that would be wonderful.
Mr. Hans, this podcast is heard in more than 100 countries, so you can give your message for the international audience as well.
Well, my general message would be, if you see someone with a blind cane out in the street, it is absolutely okay to ask if they would like you to help them. Be polite and don't just grab them. And but it can be very, very nice to have an arm when you're crossing the street. But please remember to ask first. And be respectful, and that also goes for the blind person. Be respectful. Some blind people really like to do it on their own, and they don't want or need help. But I think it's absolutely okay to ask in a polite way. And I personally very much enjoy when I'm at a train station or something, if somebody comes around and say, would you like me to guide you to platform number 5? And then I'll say, yes, thank you so much. But it can be a little tricky sometimes. Yeah, please ask politely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hans. It was truly an honor to have you on the podcast, and you have shared a lot of insightfuls and also give us spoiler. Thank you so much, and looking forward to many more podcasts with you in coming future. And Radio Udaan is always with the Be My Eyes team. Whenever you want us to circulate information, whatever we can, we are always available. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Been a great pleasure. Thank you.
तो लिसनर्स, आज हमने बात की मिस्टर हंस से, जो फाउंडर हैं बी माई आइज के. उन्होंने हमें बी माई आइज की स्टोरी बताई, आगे क्या आने वाला है, किस तरह की मदद आप ले सकते हैं, ये सारी डिटेल शेयर की. अगले सप्ताह होगी मुलाकात किसी और पर्सनैलिटी के साथ. कैसा लगा आपको ये शो? कमेंट करके यूट्यूब पे हमें जरूर बताएं, लोगों के साथ शेयर करें और बी माई आइज को डाउनलोड करें और बी ए पार्ट ऑफ बी माई आइज फैमिली. थैंक यू सो मच. गुड नाइट. बाय बाय.
अब प्रोग्राम बदलता दौर में आपके फेवरेट होस्ट दानिश महाजन करेंगे बात NCPEDP जावेद आबिदी फेलोज से. जावेद आबिदी फेलोशिप एक लीडरशिप डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम है जो नेशनल सेंटर फॉर प्रमोशन ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट फॉर डिसेबल्ड पीपल यानी NCPEDP द्वारा शुरू किया गया है. ये प्रोग्राम यूथ विद डिसेबिलिटीज के लिए है जो अपना करियर बनाना चाहते हैं डेवलपमेंट सेक्टर में, पर्टिकुलरली डिसेबिलिटी राइट्स और इंक्लूजन में. तो हर सप्ताह होगी एक NCPEDP जावेद आबिदी फेलो से बात और जानेंगे कि उन्होंने डिसेबिलिटी के किस टॉपिक पर की है रिसर्च. तो सुनना मत भूलिएगा प्रोग्राम बदलता दौर हर रविवार रात 9 बजे और सोमवार शाम को 4 बजे सिर्फ और सिर्फ रेडियो उड़ान पर. फॉर मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन लॉग ऑन टू www.radioudan.com.
Novaflix, an accessible OTT platform for visually impaired.
भोली शालिनी उन्हें गंभीरता से देख नजरअंदाज कर अंदर चली जाती है. वो नेशनल नर्सिंग कॉलेज की बिल्डिंग के सामने खड़ी हो.
अगर आप ब्लाइंड हैं और एंजॉय करना चाहते हैं लेटेस्ट मूवीज, वो भी ऑडियो डिस्क्रिप्शन के साथ, तो आज ही डाउनलोड करें Novaflix प्ले स्टोर से.
हे गाइस, आप अपने फील्ड में मास्टर हैं, सुपर्ब हैं, टैलेंटेड हैं, लेकिन ये क्या टेक्नोलॉजी के मामले में आप थोड़ा सा पीछे हैं? फिकर नॉट यार, आरजे मीनल है ना. आरजे मीनल के साथ हर हफ्ते टेक सिटी सुनिए और टेक्नोलॉजी की हर बात को जानिए. सुनिए टेक सिटी हर गुरुवार रात 9 बजे से 10 बजे तक, जिसका पुनः प्रसारण होगा हर शुक्रवार शाम 4 बजे से 5 बजे तक, सिर्फ और सिर्फ रेडियो उड़ान पर. तो ना रहेगा आप कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी से दूर. हर हफ्ते टेक सिटी सुनिए हुजूर, सिर्फ और सिर्फ आरजे मीनल के साथ.
दुर्घटनाएं, डिजास्टर्स. बुधवार रात 10 बजे और गुरुवार शाम 5 बजे राजीव भावरी की जुबानी सिर्फ और सिर्फ रेडियो उड़ान पर, जिन्हें सुन आपके पैर ठंडे हो जाएंगे, रोंगटे खड़े हो जाएंगे। राजीव भावरी से आप सुनेंगे बड़े पैमाने पर घटित हो रही प्राकृतिक और मौसमी आपदाएं एवं दुर्घटनाएं, जिसके सामने इंसान बेबस और लाचार नजर आते हैं। फॉर मोर इन्फो लॉग ऑन टू www.radioudan.com या डाउनलोड करें हमारी ऐप रेडियो उड़ान फ्रॉम प्ले स्टोर और ऐप स्टोर से।
रिश्तों में है तकरार,
अब तो कोई ऐसा दिन नहीं जब हमारी लड़ाई ना होती हो।
या ऑफिशियल लाइफ में है तनाव।
हाँ, ऑफिस भी टाइम पर पहुंचता हूँ, सारा काम टाइम पे पूरा करके देता हूँ, फिर भी ये कहा जाता है कि यार तुम्हारी जॉब खतरे में है। एकदम मैं परेशान हो चुका हूँ, बताओ अब मैं क्या करूँ।
आरजे नरेश सुनेंगे, समझेंगे आपकी हर बात, दिल से दिल तक में होगा आपकी हर समस्या का सटीक इलाज और सही समाधान।
अपनी बात को उनके सामने बहुत पोलाइटली तरीके से रखें, ये काम करता है।
तो सुनना ना भूले लाइव शो दिल से दिल तक हर गुरुवार रात 10 बजे से 11 बजे तक और रिपीट हर शुक्रवार शाम 5 बजे से 6 बजे तक। फॉर मोर इन्फो लॉग ऑन टू www.radioudan.com या फिर डाउनलोड करें रेडियो उड़ान ऐप फ्रॉम प्ले स्टोर या ऐप स्टोर से।
जब खबर हो पक्की तो तहलका तो मचेगा। क्या हो रहा है आज, क्या होने वाला है कल, अब ये है अप टू डेट रहने का वक्त विद लेटेस्ट PWD न्यूज, जॉब अलर्ट्स, इवेंट्स एंड करंट हैपनिंग्स। साथ ही साथ जानिए विभिन्न NGOs के बारे में जो कार्यरत हैं PWD वेलफेयर के लिए। ओनली विद गौरी कुबेर इन द शो कम्युनिटी कलर्स, जो कि प्रसारित किया जाएगा शुक्रवार रात 9 बजे एवं शनिवार शाम 4 बजे। सुनना बिल्कुल ना भूलिएगा।
कभी अतीत का किस्सा सुनाती, कभी उलझे सवालों का जवाब ढूंढ लाती, कभी बनती खाली समय का सहारा, सुकून से भरा है इसमें जीवन सारा। इसकी कहानी कविताओं में मिलता ज्ञान का भवसागर, ये किताबों की दुनिया है जो भर दे गागर में सागर। कभी मोहब्बत के किस्से, कभी परियों की कहानी। सुनना ना भूलिए शो बुक वर्ड RJ राजेश्वरी की जुबानी।
सुनना ना भूलिए शो बुक वर्ल्ड हर बुधवार शाम 8 बजे से 9 बजे तक और रिपीट ब्रॉडकास्ट हर बृहस्पतिवार शाम 3 बजे से 4 बजे तक।
फॉर मोर इन्फो लॉग ऑन टू www.radioudan.com।
Do you feel confused while speaking in English? Enhance your English vocabulary and learn some amazing words every week. Tune into Vocabulary Dose every Thursday 7 to 8 p.m. and repeat broadcast on Friday 2 to 3 p.m. with logo file RJ Divya Sharma. Only on Radio Udaan, a flight of life. Tune in now.